Dear viewers, wherever you are, hello and welcome to this new episode of your program, Out of the Box. With every kind of elections, whether it's federal, provincial, even municipal, in Canada or in other parts of the world, a question always floats to the surface, which is what is the relation between one's faith and his political affiliation? Is there a relationship or not? And if there is, how strong is this bond? How old or how new? In this episode, we'll try to shed light on this topic. We will not discuss the results of the elections. We fully respect the choice of the Canadians. We congratulate the winner. And we wish best of luck to those who did not make it this time. We will not get at all into the result of the elections, out of respect for the choices of our dear viewers. To delve deeper into this topic and to try to understand the sources of this phenomenon, I'm really delighted to be accompanied by Ahmad Barsoum, the thinker and the writer. Ahmad, hello and welcome again to the program.
Mohammed, hello and thank you. And it is a good opportunity to talk about the elections after it has been ended. It's always a hot topic. But now it's even better that we can talk freely without any propaganda for any of the parties.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now that everything has been said and done, and now we have the results. So, before the elections, and even now that we know the results, we followed and are still following comments from side A or B. And a lot of these comments, you get a feeling that this wasn't an electoral campaign. It was rather a holy war, like as if people were
Yes.
waging war against each other. Before we go deeper, how do you see this phenomenon? Do you see eye to eye with me here, or do you think I'm delusional?
Actually, in fact, I think I see it more than you see it, even more, because I've been involved with some politicians. I'm helping, and also I am involved in politics since a long time, as you know. So yes, I have witnessed, I have seen, I've touched that there was lots of ideological and beliefs, and also religious beliefs that's affecting the tendency to go to join which party, and thus which party you should vote for too. So it was not something that pleased anyone, especially people who would look at the whole scene in a different perspective. It's politics, it's not religion, it's not a holy war. It's just politics. Every party is eligible to win or lose, and then it's the choice of the people. And then the government will stay 2, 3 years, 4 years, and then there's another government will come. But the religion stays, and that's why I found out it's very awkward. And actually, this phenomenon started in the last 12 years, I would say, 12, 15 years maybe. We have seen this happening before in other elections, either on the municipal, not, so, sorry, or the federal or the provincial. And it is astonishing because we thought that when in Canada, a free world, democracy, and immigrants are equal for their rights, and they started to discriminate a political affiliation or political relation with the parties based on religion. It is a scary scene that we have seen, yes, before the elections.
And again, heedless of the condescending rhetoric that we hear from side A and side B, and you try to exalt yourself and defile the other. Many people have tried to sugarcoat this by saying, actually, we're not religious in any way. We're like just trying to use common sense. It's better to go liberal, it's better to go conservative because of A, B, C, and D. But usually, when you follow the comments, people are supportive of liberal, usually have like, I wouldn't say one religious affiliation, but there is a majority of one religious affiliation supporting liberal versus another religious affiliation supporting the conservatives. And but they try to deny that.
Mm.
How do you see this condescending, attitude towards each other? And again, you know, some people would try to give you an advice, but actually they're patronizing you. They don't respect you as much. Where does that come from?
Well, actually, it is very, I would say, very uncomfortable because many of those people who are related to a certain religious belief voting for a certain party because of their wrongly thinking that this party is supporting their belief. That's a huge fallacy. For example, some people that would support and vote for the liberal parties in general, I would say in the world, the liberal or the right, the left wing, but they don't know that the liberals in the world are not religious by nature because this is the theme of their party. They are free from any doctrines. They are free from any ideological control on their minds. And that then still you see lots of political, I mean, religious affiliations tend to join them, falsely believing that they are supporting their case or their situation. On the other side, you will find another group of religious people or another doctrine. They follow the right wing, assuming that the right wing is protecting the religion as well because they are conservative. They don't want to have any shake to their belief. So they see the conservative people in the world are the guardians of the religion. Again, huge fallacy because the conservative parties around the world, they tend only to serve the interests of those who follow, regardless of the religious affiliation. And you'll be surprised if I tell you that most of the conservative followers around the world actually they don't believe in anything. They just believe in the money, in the business, in the capital. That's what it is. That's what they vote for conservative parties to protect their investments and to protect the wealth they created among history. And that's why also you see that in history showed us that the Western countries, assumed that they were in democracies, they colonized half of the world, and they are very conservative,
Mm.
and they are calling for religious protection. But in fact, they were after the wealth of the nations that they colonized, and they butchered them, they sucked their
Okay.
blood, and of course, we talk about many countries that we we know. So that's a huge fallacy that voters think for a second that a party, whether liberal party or conservative party, as an affiliation, of course, would even think about their ideologies or religions. That's a huge
So,
fallacy.
so you think it's a fallacious argument that's happening here, and you disagree with their premise to start with. You don't agree with their initial point here. But again, some people would claim that the liberals usually attract minorities, new people. In the case of Canada, multicultural, backgrounds, and the conservative would sort of get the attention of people who have lived longer in this country, maybe who have a majority in terms of not number, but in terms of like how big the ethnic group is. So maybe the others on the left wing, they might be bigger in number, but they're like it's an archipelago, like few from here, few from there. The total is bigger, but the conservative ones, they might be lesser in number or equal in number, but they're divided into smaller slices.
Mm.
Like each slice or each group has a bigger share. Would you agree with this analysis or not?
I would partially agree with this because if you look at the Liberal Party, yes, they support some what we call minorities. However, they also have their agenda is to include every minority under their wing, and thus all these minorities become one as big liberal family, regardless of their religious affiliation, regardless of their ethnic background. On the other side, the conservative, all they look for is how to increase the wealth and how to make sure that the rich people get richer and the work class remain work class to serve the interests. So also they will include all the minorities within, but on one condition: they should work in this second level, which are the workforce for the capitalists. What I'm saying might sound a little bit socialism and capitalism. It is not exactly that, but I want to say that yes, conservative parties worldwide are more capitalist than the liberal parties worldwide as well. But both of them, they need the minorities for different purposes. Liberals want them for votes, and conservatives want them to be the working class. So, but again, every party in the world work only for their own interest, regardless of what the citizens of the country, what the people would like to see them doing for them.
Now, some people go and vote out of spite, actually. They just gloat the other group. They grudge the other group. And
Yeah.
usually they're trying to settle scores of things that have nothing to do with Canada, for instance, or with the United States. But for example, you and I have the same background. We came from the same country, but you come from Group A, I come from Group B, and there were like a lot of unrest between both of our groups, a lot of indignities, like a lot of atrocities committed from my group towards yours or the other way around. And now, to settle the scores here, I'm just voting for any party that you're not voting for.
Hmm. Yes,
And I assume that this is the way to get my revenge.
it is.
How do you see?
Yes, actually, it is a sad point. I agree with you. I have seen it, touched it, and I have talked about it to many people. And unfortunately, this phenomena is also very sad. But before we delve into it, we have to shed some light on the historical background of those group A and B as well, and where they came from. So most of those people, they came from countries which are being ruled by the totalitarian regimes, or the one-party regime, or dictatorships, and or many forms of non-democratic political environments. And they were always oppressed politically. I will not say religiously, politically oppressed. So they never participated in parties. Even if they participate in opponent party, they lose everything they have politically. And they know that these parties will never win. So we call it unilateral parties as well. So, and that's why they have no actual political experience in two or more political parties going together to elections to win one of them or should win. And when they came to this country here, they found out that they have a space, some space of freedom that allow them to move and also to make choices and fight for their choices. And that's why they started to take sides. But the side they took, it was actually based on, again, which party is more appealing to their belief. And they judged it by some superficial things. Like, for example, a leader of a party would go and join them in the religious institutes and pray with them and share their festivals. But does it mean that he believes in them? He's doing this for their votes, because the same party leader who went to this religious institute went to another religious institute for another religion and did the same thing, and third and fourth. But unfortunately, every religious group think that he is their own leader and he is in their favor. Same thing happened on the other side, the conservative side as well. They go and visit all the religious groups and affiliations in their house of worship, and they practice with them some traditions. And think so. The people of those parties, I mean, of those religious issues, think, oh, this is the leader that is advocating for us for our case, and we should follow them. At the end of the day, we'll find out that those two groups Group A and Group B, they fell in this trap. They believe that the political leader of a party is very keen to support this kind of religion against the other kind of religion. And again, as we said it earlier, both sides are mistaken because they don't know that those two leaders, different leaders, are only seeking their votes. And they found out that they never found out that this is the reality. Even now, with the winning party, they still think that, oh, this won because we supported him for our religious future, our cause, our future in this country. It is a shame that we think that political leaders have religious affiliation or at least supporting one of the religious groups A or B. That's a shame because they don't. And if you go and ask them, in fact, on the contrary, those political leaders, and if we say that they are coming from a certain racial background, they don't see people coming from other countries as equal. And this is a fact that we cannot deny. And unfortunately, it happens in politics, in businesses, in workplaces. They think always that those people are needed to this country for economic reasons. However, they are not equal in many things.
Hmm.
Equality is just on paper. And we can have another episode for this, and I can give you facts and incidents
Definitely,
with
definitely.
many people. So I know that because I have been suffering from this as well, and many people I know.
So,
And
Iman, now I'm sorry to cut you off, but like this is a very pressing point here because now we have a winner, and again, we'll not, as we promised, we'll not get into the
yes,
details of
yeah,
the winner and the loser, but we have a winning party and we have a losing party or a party that didn't make it. But uh, do you think that both parties, liberal and conservative, they deliberately exploited these religious sentiments that Group A and B have to their own advantage to gain like political and economic support, to get donations, and to get like just voters? Or did they have any genuine interest really in any of them?
of course, no genuine interest. It's based on a mere opportunistic approach. So
Hmm.
I'll tell you why. Both sides of political parties, both poles, they have two different religious affiliation or a religious support. What those religious groups succeeded in the last 10, 15 years is to send a message to the leaders of those parties that you are more appealing to our religion than the others. And
Hmm.
that's why you will have more support. And that's why also leaders of parties started to surround themselves by members of those religious groups as advisors.
Hmm. Yes, yes, yes.
And here is the trick. So political leaders, they wanted the votes. So they allowed one of them to come to help for votes, for financial support, donations, and for even volunteer work. And that's what every politician needs. He needs the volunteer people who volunteer to help at no cost, the donations of the rich, and the votes at the end. So if I am a member of a group A, a religious group A, and I come to a leader and tell him, listen, I can guarantee you that our group is very rich. Our religious group, they have lots of rich people.
Hmm.
And these people are all professionals. And they can provide you with lots of the maximum donation allowed by the law. So if I have 100, let's example, 100 people who can give you the maximum, that's already big amount of money from 100 people. Rather than 1,000 will not pay a cent in this. So of course, I will go to their house of worship. I will pray with them. I will show them that I'm interested in them. And the same happens on the other side.
Absolutely,
So yeah.
absolutely.
So it is I would say it is a lie that was created by the religious groups, A and B, and the politicians didn't believe it but bought it on purpose to benefit from it.
Absolutely. You know, like this is so sad, but it's at the same time
It's fact that happened, unfortunately. We have seen it.
it's
We
very
have
true
witnessed it. Yes.
that
Yeah.
they would exploit both sides and try to benefit from
And,
them.
And actually, I want to add something quickly here. It is a shame on the political parties to have to put some weight on religious affiliations or religious followers, because this completely undressed them from being a democratic party and one for all. It is really a shame that at the 21st century, we see political parties are leaning towards religious people based on the religion, not based on political and social and economic interests in those for those groups.
And how do you define the phenomenon when I would go and vote to a political party that is 100% against my personal interest, just to support my group, just to be part of the herd? Is this like only ignorance? Is it arrogance? Is it martyrdom for my faith? How do you see that? Like, my interests are 100% with the conservatives, but I go and vote liberal because my group said vote liberal, or my interest is 100% with the liberals, but I go and vote conservative because my group said vote conservative. What
Yeah.
what is what induces this? Like what pushes you to do that?
This is a typical psychological reaction for religious people, and we know it. So every member of a religious group, they like or tend to have affiliation with someone like them. So as we say, birds of feather flock together. So if I am following a certain group of religion A or B, and they tell me that if you have to vote for this party because we are all voting for it, I don't want to be the different person, the one that is unique among them and go do something else, because I would think if 10 people are right about this, why I should be wrong? No, I must go and vote because I follow the herd, which is a tendency of our religious people, and also it is kind of preference. I would prefer my belief of prefer my religious belonging over any other interest in life. And if you said it the right way, it's martyrdom. Yes, both Group A and B religions, they have this embedded in their subconscious that the religion comes first above any other interest in life, and that's why we have to support this religious, regardless of any political repercussions or social or economic repercussions of this choice.
Again, many people before they go and vote, they use the ad hominem fallacy. So like I would attack the leader of party A or party B as
Yes.
a person. Or like
Okay.
I would say, this is a strong believer, this is a weak believer, this guy believes in but how about the platform?
Well,
Like, how do you see that?
yeah, okay, this is again, it is a psychological reaction of the weak. So if I have no arguments to use against what you talk to me about, your political message or political rhetoric, I would go for this concept of ad hominem because I have no other tools, and the only argument I have is that I don't like you because you are the enemy, or because you are the one that is calling for the opposite of what we want. So if you are conservative, you are enemy of our group of religion, and if you are liberal, the vice versa. So that's why we attack the leader or the head of the party, rather than discussing and talking about what the party stand for and what are the pillars of every party and what they will do for the people in the future when they win. So again, it is a weak defense mechanism of people who are ignorant about political uh, game or political processes.
And actually, before we started recording, you and I were talking about some examples of some people. We'll not mention names, of course, but like some people always use the straw man fallacy.
Yeah,
So they would tell you, I'm not voting for this party because they are A, B, C. But actually, this party never, ever called for A, B, C. Or maybe this party actually calls for the opposite of A, B, C. But they talk to you as if they are experts in that. And they have videos and they have, like, they put posts and they speak with incredible conviction. The degree
yeah,
of conviction you hear in their tone of voice and like their facial expressions is that, yeah, this party is based on one, two, three, and four. And either their argument is completely false or it's completely outdated.
Yeah.
Maybe this party, maybe 50 years ago was like that, or 60 years ago was like that. Because the definition of right and left wing is not the same today as it was 50 years ago or 100
Indeed.
years ago.
Yes. Indeed. Yes. But again, I would say without prejudice to anyone, yeah, it falls under the ignorance fact. So if I am ignorant about the political platform of a party, and on the other, both sides actually, or the three sides, I have no idea. Again, I'm following the herd. So how would I put on the table in front of you some valued arguments and qualitative and quantitative arguments about the political platform of either? So the only way I can see, I will say that, oh, I know that this party is A, B, and C doing this with ignorance, without, because even those people who are claiming that they know and talk politics in a professional way, they themselves believed themselves when they said so, because they cannot face the fact that they are ignorant. Those people never had political grooming. They never had the chance to practice politics properly in their countries. And they, even when they come to this country, they thought that it's a chess game, or it's a cards game, that, oh, I know how to play chess. Let me go and play with them. And they never noticed that it's not a game. It's bigger than that. Politics is not just a game that you heard about or read about one day. It takes years and years for people to practice it and understand the ins and outs of it. And but that's what they don't want to listen to or believe. And you find many people go play the game with ignorance, and the result is that what we see sometimes.
And to our neighbors in the South, and unfortunately, this trend is growing all around the world today. Um, Unfortunately, it's becoming a zero-sum game. So usually, the transitional period from one president to another, from one prime minister to another, was usually a very smooth one. And okay, we try our best during the electoral campaign, but once the results are out, okay, congratulations to the winner. Like, great job for the loser. Wish you best of luck next time. Sometimes maybe they can have a coalition, like government or something like that. But lately, we see very sore losers, people who would refuse to admit their loss, people who would, like always try to undermine the authority or like the legitimacy of the, supervising board of any kind of elections, and they say that we were beaten because we are the supporters of the right. And here I'm not talking about right as in right and left. No, the right, the correct, because we are supporting the correct. And the state, or the deep state rather, is fighting against us. How do you see this trend of being such sore losers and like having this zero sum game? It's either you or me. We can never work
Yes.
together.
Yeah. It is something that I would relate it to two factors. The first factor is the decaying of ethics and principles through the years that happened in the last 20 years or 30 years. And this is caused by the huge and fast pace of modernization. So, and the individuality and the pragmatism, all these factors together made everyone feel that he or she are the sole people who are entitled for something. It happens on different levels, from school to colleges to workplaces to politics to sports. Everyone sees himself or herself as the one who is entitled. So the higher you go in this challenge, the more you stick to the sense of entitlement. That's the factor number one. Number two is the technology and the way that communication now is being so easy that people can send a message by click on their phones to mass groups and move them towards supporting them falsely or following some of the lies that they are spreading. And the same thing happens with the other opponent and so on and so on. So this speed of communication created this sense of also unrest in the sense when somebody loses, because I can call my supporters in 10 seconds through social media or through whatever communication way and make them go out and do a sit in the streets and demand that the winner should leave, because those are more wild. This group is wild, not behaving in a civilized way. And again, social media and the communication made it so easy to take a reaction against the loss of elections or a loss of a game in football or sports in general, of course. So those are the two factors I see are the most pressing factors now that led to this phenomenon of sore losers.
Unfortunately, like everyone wants to win. That's normal. But
We
like,
know, yes, but we know that, and we have been through the. I grew up in the time when we lose a game in school, we go and shake hands with everyone else, and when we
absolutely,
lose,
like fair play, fair play.
yes, fair play. Even
And
in elections, because I used to join the elections in on the students level when we choose the board of school, the students representing the school. In grade 7 and 8, I was practicing this,
yes,
and I lost and I won sometimes, and we're still friends. We play together after the results of these elections, and we are still friends till now.
and this creates a very big problem for the incumbent and like his opponent, because if I'm the incumbent, I'm the one who's sitting on the seat now. I want to preserve this seat forever.
Yeah.
And like you're not, there's no way you're going to take that seat by hook or by crook. I'm keeping it. And the other one, again, by hook or by crook, will move me off this seat, like regardless of anything. And where are we going now, really? Because we have incredible divisive rhetoric. So now that we know the results, how do you see this divisive rhetoric that started before and during the campaign? Do you think now things will fade away and people will just get to work? Or are we going to live this divisive rhetoric forever? And will it even escalate?
Well, this division will cool down a little bit in the coming days because now the winners are happy; they are celebrating the win. The others are recalculating the results and see what happens. But soon they started to get themselves together. We go back to the square one again.
Hmm.
That the division is there. And on the contrary, it might go wilder because some of the losers might think, oh, we have to work more on this group of people now, the religious group, to make them help us next time in our elections. Let's see what we can do to them. So now they will ignite more this rhetoric of division, this rhetoric of religious affiliation with politics, and it might end up like being more chaotic than we have seen it.
And do you think that political parties should reconsider the prerequisites for being a candidate? Because unfortunately, we've seen from party A and B, the liberal and the conservative, unfortunately, a lot of extremely incompetent people who tried to be MPs, members of parliament. They ran for
Okay.
these elections and they were endorsed and supported by the party just because they received an X number of votes, whatever in there, but is this enough? Like, shouldn't there be um, a more, robust checklist
Yes.
for the requirements of a candidate. Like not anybody just passing by who has the support of any kind of institution, usually a religious institution, whatnot, or who can pay and get more votes. So there you go. Regardless of his educational background, of his political history, of his even history in the service. Because somebody who runs to become an MP and
Yeah.
he did zero services before to the community. The first time ever people hear this name is today when he was running for the elections. What is your history? How did you serve people before? Like, are you a philanthropist? Were you benevolent before? No, the answer is no. And just allegations, but he never did anything for anyone. Level of education is below minimal, and political. Like he doesn't even know his own platform. Somebody who
Yes.
cannot make a simple speech.
They don't understand what their party is standing for, even.
Exactly. They
Yes.
can hardly speak. They're completely incompetent.
Yes, and by the way, this is unfortunately this is one of the negative aspects of the election system here, because parties depend on the party members and the membership of the voters rather than who are those people who will represent the people of the riding, the citizen of the riding. So that's why there is no qualifications required in that case. When I go to talk to the people that I am your representative running for the elections, I run for this party A, but I don't say that I have these qualifications to represent you. In brief, they put it in their flyers, but in fact, they count only on the party. And that's why we say always that they say in the politicians, they say if it's a red wave, everybody will win. Whoever is walking in the street that day and went to nominate himself or herself. If the wave is blue, then anyone in the office or sitting waiting to be elected will win automatically because people voted for the party, not for the person. And that's a huge, huge error in this formula of elections
Absolutely.
or
Absolutely.
political practice. Because I can tell you that there are thousands of people who are more eligible to be representing their constituents in certain ridings, more educated, more eligible, more community service they performed and did in their life. Many things, many factors, they have it more than the one that we see their names on the boards, on the lawns, in the streets. And again, it is not the fault of the candidates, it's the fault of the parties, of the system that allowed them to do so. I cannot blame someone who wants to have ambition to be a member of parliament and he just won because he's member of this party, regardless of his qualifications. I would blame the party itself, not the people.
Yeah,
Uh,
let me share with you this. I'm sorry to cut you off. Let me share with you this story. Actually, it's a true story. Someone I know, he went to vote early. He didn't wait until the last day. He went for early voting, and he decided that he wants to vote for party A or B. But then, he went to the polling station and didn't have the list. No, like you had to write because early voting, you would write the name of your
you don't
candidate.
choose. Yes, yeah.
Exactly. So he sat behind the screen. He had the paper, he had the pencil, he had the envelope. And just before writing, he said, "Wait a minute, like I support this party, but there's no way I'm voting for this guy.
Yes.
Because if I support the party, I must vote for this guy." And um, like he went back and he said, guys, I'm sorry, I won't be able to vote today. And they told him no problem. And then a week later, he went back and he voted for the other party because he felt that I could never give my vote for this incompetent guy, although he represents the party that I like. How do you see this example? Do you agree with this person? Do you think that he should have just voted for the party regardless of who is the representative in the riding, and then just let an incompetent person become an MP just to support his party? Or should he just vote for the better candidate, despite the fact that this better candidate represents the opposite party?
Actually, I respect this person who did that, because he's one of the very few who understand and appreciate his democratic rights and his rights as a citizen to choose the best for him in his riding, regardless of the party affiliation or the party's politics. Because at the end of the day, I will meet this representative one day, this MP. I will talk to him or her. I will ask them to help me with something, or I might need them to interfere in a bigger thing for the community. So I would rather trust the person I'm talking to than trust a party that I don't know, the person I don't know, because he might ignore me completely, because we know him that this person that never, ever has helped anyone. And or he is not looking after his people at all, or his constituents. He focuses only on his personal interests, or even just think about the retirement pension that he will get from the parliament after two terms. And again, as I said, I respect this person very much. I wish many people are like him or her. But on the other side, I will tell another story. I heard about someone who went to the election and started asking, which name is this party? Because they told him vote for this party only. But he or she, they didn't know the name of the person they are going to vote, because they don't care. All they care about is voting for the party. And that's the biggest sarcastic problem we have here. It's very sarcastic. I'm laughing because it's opposite to what your man did.
Yes,
Different story.
unfortunately.
But I found out the majority are from the second one type. That they just vote for the party, they go there, and someone will tell them, "Oh, this party is the name is so and so. You vote for this name." Okay, okay. If this is the party they want, if this is the party that my religious institute asked me to do, I'll put it that way, because I have seen people doing this, and I have seen on the social media long videos made by people, unknown people, give themselves titles as analysts and political analysts and observers.
Of
They
course.
make long speeches about why we should vote for this party, on both sides, by the way, a lot. And none of them actually they have any credentials to make them in this position of analytics, and also to give recommendations based on the religious affiliation.
And
And I have seen videos that apparently they look so naive and so non-biased, but in deepen, if you listen to them word by word, you'll see that they are pushing their followers to go for that party only, because this one is angels and the other one are the devils. So choosing parties became angels and demons. So, and
unfortunately,
my angel is your demon and vice versa.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
And last but not least, and um, many people find themselves torn between the hammer and the anvil, really, because you might have a candidate
Mm.
who is from your religious background, but not from your cultural background, or somebody from your cultural background, but not from your religious background.
Mm.
If you vote for him, you will be supporting your religion but betraying your cultural background, or you'll be supporting a cultural background but betraying your religion. And is this a proper thing in a secular country like Canada? And again, should Canada just keep this going on forever? Or should there be, a minute to stand and think and contemplate and try to bring an end to this in a secular constitutional democracy like Canada?
Yeah. That's a sad situation. Unfortunately, it exists. And when you put it that way, you put it at the beginning, it reminded me of Pascal Wage. Which will I should choose? If I choose this, I will do that. If I choose that, I will go to heaven or I go to hell. Same thing. People in the 21st century, in a democratic country, in a secular country, they're still thinking about the medieval thoughts, that they choose people based on religion and ideology. And that's a shame. That's a sad thing. And that's really, really putting us back in time, not ahead of time.
Or
And
patriotism for a country that they don't live in anymore as well.
even they left these countries because of these reasons. And the problem is they are bringing with them all the dirty clothes that they left there. They brought it with them, and they want to
Unfortunately.
put it here with us.
Unfortunately.
And that's, yes, that's a sad thing. I have seen it. I've touched it, and I know how it feels that in this time of our life we see such things. I have heard it. I've heard it personally from people as well, and that's sad, unfortunately.
Absolutely. Matt, thank you very much for your time and for this extremely fruitful discussion. Thank you very much
Thank
for.
you, Muhammad, and also congratulations to the winning party. We, at the end of the day, no matter what we chose, it is the people who chose the party, and hopefully they will provide us with what we hope for this, for the
Absolutely.
future of the country.
And
Thank
wishing
you.
all the best for the opposition as well. Like we definitely need the opposition. We definitely need both. So both are part and parcel of our democracy. So I would really say congratulations to both. Congratulations for being the one to form the cabinet, but congratulations to the others for being, maybe the eye of the people, the checks and balances for the winner. So congratulations to both parties, liberal and conservative. Again, we're not going to touch on the result, but and I hope the best really to come. This is what matters. Like work on the ground. This is really what matters at the end of the day because talk is cheap and easy. Imad, thank you once again.
Thank you, Muhammad. All the best.
Thank you. Dear viewers, just to recap here, unfortunately, many, many immigrants, when they come here, they come with their old luggage and they come with their old grudges, and um, they don't understand what kind of society they're coming to. It's a secular, democratic, constitutional monarchy. And so the Constitution is the ruler, really. And our sovereign, he doesn't really govern the country, but he is the guardian of the Constitution. Our sovereign does not have any political affiliation. He's not conservative or liberal, no. And he's the head of the state, but the head of the government, the one who runs day to day business and the one who has the final decision is our prime minister and the cabinet and the parliament. And all these are chosen by the people. So really the one who governs Canadians are Canadians themselves. But we have a secular country. So it's not an atheist country. Unfortunately, some people, you know, are confused and they don't know the difference between being an atheist and being a secular person. So secularism has respect to all religions and all backgrounds, but again, they are separate from the state. So please don't fall a victim for anybody who's, manipulating you, anybody who's patronizing you, anyone who is um, just, taking advantage of your ignorance and they want to exploit you. Before you vote, you are voting for yourself and for the future of your children. So, use your own better judgment. Don't depend on the group because the group, they are not you. In the group, whether it's your cultural background or like your religious background, there are like richer, poorer people, people who would benefit much more from higher taxes, people who would benefit much more from lower taxes, and so on and so forth. So definitely, the group is not one thing. So please just be honest with yourself before you go and vote. And the game is over now. It's time to stand hand in hand and build Canada. Because if we continue in this divisive rhetoric and go for more civil unrest and civil strife and God forbid, like civil war, this will not benefit anyone, really. So let's refrain from these counterproductive arguments and start to concentrate on what can build our country for the betterment of all our lives. Dear viewers, until we meet again, thank you very much for watching. Have a pleasant time.